Welcome, my dear friends. It's fantastic to see you. And I'm Stephen Clements, a writer, a gamer, and appreciator of big brain activities in general. On this channel, I perform dramatic story readings, I provide role-playing game and movie reviews, and I get to talk to interesting people. And you might notice I'm not wearing my normal ascot and some fancy getup because in honor of the final chapter of Gary's book. Why? Because Gary was a legendary lover of Hawaiian shirts. They even have a Hawaiian shirt get-together at GaryCon each year to commemorate his affection for this piece of wardrobe. We both knew this day would come because as we've been interviewing the mind of Gary Gygax in a role-playing game review of his book, Role-Playing Mastery, we have at last come to the final chapter. Hopefully, over the course of this series, I've been able to get across to you the points that I took out of this book that inspired me to be a better player, to be a better game master, and gave me ideas on how to do all those things. Such as in the last chapter when he said, if you think you've got the stuff as a player, you need to be in tournaments. And so at upcoming cons that I'm going to be going to, they do have some tournament games going on, and I should throw my hat in the ring to test myself against the other players, against the GM, and see how I stack up in the tournament. If it turns out I'm the best, well, obviously I am, that's no surprise. And if I don't come out on top, then I've got lessons learned I can reflect on to think, how can I be better at my craft? Is it get better dice? Or is it get good, sucker? You know, whichever way it goes, there's a lesson to be learned. I hope you've enjoyed the series, and as we come to the last chapter, that would be chapter 10, an overview of progress toward mastery. By now, each reader understands what needs to be known, what must be understood, and what course to follow in successfully striving toward mastery of role-playing games. Beyond that, there is the awareness of the contributions given and recognition received, which are the marks of grand mastery. All references are in the most general of terms, for role-playing games are many and varied, and winning is not part of one of them. Winning is what each participant does by enjoying the game. Tournament play aside, the winners are those who give the most. This also applies to tournament play to some extent, for those who excel there have attained a degree of mastery. There is so much to understand, so many varied ways to view the role-playing game activity in order to comprehend what mastery is, that another perspective might be useful. So far, we have viewed the layers from the inside out, moving through one and then examining the next. Just as there are many perspectives from which to play an RPG, so too there are many views possible in the examination of mastery. The game master, however, is the sighted man who observes the blind men examining an elephant. One blind examiner is at the front, feeling the trunk, and he describes the elephant as snake-like. Those at the side say the elephant is like a wall, while the four near its legs say it is tree-like. In order to allow you a sighted view of the role-playing game elephant, it was first necessary to supply you with the ability to see. That is, you needed the insights and information to fully comprehend what the whole entails. For such understanding, you have now attained the height from which to view the whole in a new perspective. Instead of feeling parts, you can see and understand how these parts form the whole of the elephant. Imagine a calm pool of water. The surface is bright and still. In your mind's eye, watch what happens as you take a pebble and drop it into the center of the pool. As a small stone impacts the water, it causes a crater, then an upward geysering effect as the liquid rushes into the opening. This is similar to the individual's impact upon and activity in the hobby of role-playing games. From the central point, the point of impact, concentric circles move outward. This ripple effect represents the area of activity that spread outward from the individual. Larger effort is synonymous with a bigger pebble. The circles will be stronger and spread farther before disappearing. Here's an overview of the effect, and he gives us a diagram, which you can see on the screen now. Feel free to pause it for your observation, but I will read it to you. In the center, we have individual effort and player mastery. And outside of that, encompassing it, play group excellence and mastery of the role of game master. And encompassing that, contributions to and mastery of the chosen game system, and surrounding all of it, contributions to and activity within the greater gaming community. It is certainly apparent that to achieve greater mastery, individual excellence must come first. In this regard, the effort is more important than absolute results. The individual may not be the best player, but he knows what goes into the making of such an individual. Beyond that, and again noting that the striving individual need not be the best game master, There is excellence in both contribution to the playgroup and a complete understanding of the principles necessary to attain mastery. In order to progress beyond the two innermost circles, actual mastery must be demonstrated. The third circle of mastery demonstrates to a broad audience that the individual has, in fact, gained mastery. Through sharing knowledge, the individual gains group acceptance. The group grants master status, as it were. Mastery is demonstrated through participation in tournaments and conventions. It is also shown in published materials that assist others in their playing of the game or understanding of rules, systems, and so forth. The greater the audience and its acceptance, the broader the degree of mastery demonstrated by the individual. Finally, the fourth circle indicates the stage at which grand mastery is shown. There, contributions are aimed not at one particular role-playing game, but at the gaming community. It is an extension of the third ring in actuality, with the individual understanding the needs of all his fellow enthusiasts and contributing toward their ongoing enjoyment of the pursuit. Another possible view requires that you envision a pyramid. This analogy is the converse of the one illustrated by the ripple effect. The people represented by the innermost and smallest circle are the same ones who comprise the base of the pyramid, its largest part. The individuals striving toward mastery are represented by the upper tiers of the base, which is comparable to the outermost section of the smallest circle. Next come those who have attained a degree of mastery. Their influence extends beyond the innermost circle to the next largest one. And in the pyramid, they occupy the section which is adjacent to but elevated from the base. The progression continues in this manner, moving up the pyramid one step for every move outward on the circle diagram. The most exclusive groups of all are those represented by the largest circle and by the very top of the pyramid. In the former case, they can be thought of as the ones whose interest, involvement, and accomplishments had the farthest reaching consequences. In the latter example, they are the people who had to work the hardest and climb the highest to attain the pinnacle of achievement in their pursuit. Thus, the circles show the striving of the individual and acknowledgement by the group as progress moves outward. The pyramid illustrates just how much effort and how much group acceptance is required to gain grand mastery. It is a goal worth striving for because it brings great personal satisfaction regardless of the end result. Success in grand mastery brings the greater satisfaction of knowing that a contribution has been made to a great number of your fellow role-playing game enthusiasts. What more could one ask? And that is the end of the text of Role-Playing Mastery. There are some appendices, including a list of organizations and regional groups you might join, annual conventions featuring role-playing games, professional periodicals serving the role-playing game community, role-playing games and products currently available, their genres and their publishers, and that goes on for a bit. Man, there's always been a bunch of role-playing games. And a glossary of terms used in this work and in the gaming community, which is pretty lengthy. So even though all those appendices are now mostly outdated, Gary was making yet another effort to make sure to evangelize the game and to connect players with each other so they can game together, so they can learn from one another, try new games out, and try new ideas out. And I think the saying was, when asked how he wanted to be remembered, Gary said, I want to be remembered as a guy who liked to play games. Not the best game master ever, not the best player ever, just a guy who enjoyed gaming. There's a humility in that. And remember, these are games. We're here to enjoy them, and we're here to play them with each other. Even at the end of the book, he basically says if you brought the joy of gaming to one other person, did a good job. So for all the talk of mastery and excelling and climbing and being a big shot, it boils down to the most important thing: did you have a good time at the game table? So keep that foremost in your mind when you're engaged in your gaming activities and strive to make that happen. Let's remember to keep that at the heart of why we're here and why we're doing what we're doing. The skills, the techniques, the development in those regards, those come extra, and those are in service of that goal. Because if you get great techniques in one way or another, but you're having a miserable time, what the hell are you doing? So again, thank you, Gary. I appreciate this book, and hopefully those who hadn't had a chance to read it yet, because it's slim pickings out there finding a copy. Hopefully this review and discussion with those of you in the comments has assisted you in learning what you need to do to move towards role-playing mastery. So that's what I have for now, my dear friends. I would appreciate if you have thoughts, please drop them in the comments. I love reading and responding to those. Like and share this to help the rest of your gaming brethren up their game, so we can all do a better job at having a great time together. That's what I got for now. So my dear friends, until we see each other again, I wish you nothing but the best.